Hi everybody, good afternoon. Let me start here. Hopefully you guys can hear me on this. Put this comment in. Maybe, there we go. Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me. Sometimes in my car, my phone does some weird stuff and you can't hear what I'm saying. So if you can't hear me, just let me know in the comments and I'll adjust accordingly. Also, if I don't acknowledge you when you come on, it's because it's not showing me who's on there. Right now it's showing me the 3 people are watching, but I have no idea who you are. So hello, and thank you for jumping on today. But yeah, if I don't acknowledge you, it's not because I am ignoring you or just choosing not to. It's because it's not showing me any of that. So it's been a few days. It's been a few days since I've been on here, and Wednesday, I had planned on getting on Wednesday, but, I really wanted to take a chance and take a step back and stop talking about things that I wanted to talk about and kind of touch on some things that you guys might want to talk about. So I put up some posts, asked for some feedback, and there was 2 things that came up. The first one was balance, and the second one was struggling with maintaining sobriety during this time with, all the downtime we have on our hands, So first I want to talk about a little bit about balance. That word balance, I find it very elusive. I find it something that I'm always trying to, perfect and get this idea in my head that I have of what balance looks like. Like everything just has to be copacetic all the time. Everything's going smooth. I have the perfect amount of work in my life, the perfect amount of family time in my life. I have the perfect amount of money, the perfect amount of everything, and that's just not reality. So maybe whoever it was that reached out to me and talked about balance, maybe you can find some solace in the fact that I think for everybody, I'm speaking for myself, but in my experience with working with other humans, I think for everybody, the word balance is very touch and go. And it really depends on your lifestyle at that moment. For me, what balance is what feels right at the time, for a lack of a better term. If I'm okay and I'm content and my spirit's being fed and my recovery's intact and, I'm reaching out to my supports and I'm getting adequate family time, stuff like that, then I've found a balance. It doesn't always look perfect. And there's days that I'm extremely stressed out. There's days that I'm not and everything's fine. But, that balance changes as I change, as my lifestyle changes, as, things come in and out of my life. Hi, Todd. I see that you popped in. Hi, Sally. Yeah, if you want to comment that they usually pop up before the ones that say who's watching. So if you want to comment, please jump on. I know that a lot of us struggle with this balance idea, and I've talked about it a million times. I'm not on here to hear myself talk. I actually don't like to hear myself talk. So if you guys want to jump on, I absolutely implore you to do so. I would rather talk to you guys and go back and forth and, address whatever you're going through than me sit here just coming up with things to say. Or rambling on with my awesome rambles that you guys have all witnessed. But yeah, hi, Justin. Talking about balance, it really just, for me, I had to take a step back and really look at the reality of the situation. If I take a step back and look at my life, how many times in my life has everything just been perfect? Met that idea that I have in my head of what balance looks like? Never. It's always been up and down, touch and go. Things come in, things go out. I'm okay, I'm not okay. My finances are great, they're terrible. It's this ongoing roller coaster ride that we all go through. And in my personal belief and my personal experience is that if you're okay with whatever's going on in your life and you're happy and you're recovering and, you're striving to be a better person every day, you've reached that balance, If something doesn't feel right in your soul or, you feel like you need to make improvements in some ways or, whatever the case might be, then to me, that's where you need to work on, making some changes where I need to. That's where I take a step back and I'm like, okay, this just isn't working for me right now. So let me fix some things, throw some stuff around, try some new stuff, and the next thing I know, I'm back in this nice little flow of balance. And like I said, my balance looks crazy sometimes. My balance looks chaotic. Most of the time it is chaotic, and it's dramatic because that's the type of human that I am. But I'm still okay. I'm still recovering. I'm still striving to be a better human. And like I've said a million times, as human beings, we have that ability. We have that ability to grow and change and move things around in our lives. We don't have to do it the way that we have like these expectations in our heads. Like I know I do. I have these grandiose expectations. If I try to live that way, I'm miserable. If I just go with it, however life is throwing it at me, and find that nice little balance where I'm content and my things in my life are content, the people in my life are content, then I'm doing all right. I'm doing the right thing. I just asked someone what their intentions were, and I believe they understood they hurt me, and it helps. What their intentions were. What their intentions were with you as a human being, Melissa. That's what I'm gathering from this, and absolutely. I apologize, if I'm going off topic here, but I like that you brought that up a little bit. One of the things that I like to talk about with anybody that I'm coming into any type of relationship with is, what are your intentions? What are your expectations? And I feel like that relieves a lot of the stress on it. You talk about different dynamics of your relationship, and, it helps to know where people are at, what they want, what they don't want, stuff like that. I do it with sponsees, I do it with friends, with family, I do it especially in intimate relationships. Like, I need to know what our goals are, where are we heading? I absolutely believe that helps, and I really like that you brought that up. Typically on these videos, I talk about intentions as far as living an intention-filled day, but my intentions are anything that I'm doing. What am I trying to put into it? What am I trying to get out of it? Those are my intentions. And sometimes they're not great, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that I have to keep acting on those bad intentions. It's not like I have to continue down that path. Same with other relationships. If I'm in any type of relationship dynamic at all, and our intentions aren't lining up, it's okay to step away. It's okay to acknowledge those things. It's okay to, maybe work together and try to change some of that stuff. Melissa, they just said some negative thing, and I was just on the verge of tears. Yeah, I get that. And sometimes it hurts. Yeah, playing the tape through. Absolutely. Sometimes when you find out people's intentions or your own, I've had the experience where I've found out my own intentions, actually realize them, and it hurts. I can't believe I'm doing what I'm doing, or I can't believe that I'm dealing with this certain situation. And that's okay too. But again, we have the ability to change that up. We have the ability to, make different changes, unless you're quarantined together. Absolutely. But at the same time, we can work on the way that we're reacting to things, the way that we respond, understanding, compassion, patience, self-care, all of those things. Take a step away, go for a walk, listen to music, meditate, journal, talk to other supports. There's ways. Yes, you're stuck in the house with a human. Maybe that's the case. But we can work on those things, and we can touch different areas of it. If I notice something, let's say, I'm just using as an example. I don't know if it actually happened to me or not, but let's just say we have a moment where something really annoys us and we're with this person, right? A lot. Take a step back. Why does it bother me? What am I going through that's triggering that inside of me? Now what? Now what can I do? I can understand that. I can be compassionate with myself. I can be, patient with myself, and I can work on those triggers within myself to change my reaction, my emotional response to those people, right? Because 9 times out of 10, for me, I don't know if this is the case for any of you, but for me, 9 times out of 10, if I'm having a hard time with something, it's typically something that's going on within myself, or maybe behaviors that somebody's displaying that I don't like because I have those same behaviors, right? The only thing I have control over, and this is something else I've talked about a million times, the only thing I have control over is myself, my actions, my emotions, I don't have control over what I feel or when I feel it, but I have control over what I do with it, right? I used to be a very explosive person. I used to be a very impulsive person. I used to be a very angry person. With a lot of time, with a lot of practice, I still have those characteristics. Absolutely, they're there. But I don't have to act on them. I've learned ways to cope. And by me saying that, what I mean is I've learned ways that help me. Everybody can give me all the suggestions in the world. And I ask everybody to take those suggestions. Take them, try them. Try different things and find where it works for you. What calms you down? What brings you peace? What puts a smile on your face? What helps you sit with yourself and just feel what you're feeling, like meditating or journaling. Find those things and practice them. You're going to be uncomfortable at first. You're going to be, impatient. You're going to want results right away, but just take the time, get to know you and love you and what's going on with you, And sometimes at the end of the day, like whatever I'm trying to fix isn't fixable. Whatever it is. I'm not saying that that's the case in this situation that we're talking about right now, but just in general, like there's times that I have to remove certain things out of my life, for me, it's more so about like jobs or, practices, behaviors. I have to remove that stuff. And in order to grow and to learn, let me catch up. I just went on a tangent for a minute there. Justin, what's a good way to apologize to someone when your own intentions were wrong, but you haven't got to the 8th step, so it's hard holding on, but you want to do this right? Oof. So going at that as like a recovery program, just in general, I'm not saying any specific recovery program, but as a person who is trying to recover, what I can do, again, I only have control over myself. So what I can do is apologize for my wrongdoing. Explain to them, like, this is what I did, this is why I did it, and I am sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Whatever happens from there, you've done what you can do from your perspective of it. It has nothing to do with an 8th step. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's really just about being a decent human being. We talk about it all the time at recovery. Like, recovery is just trying to do better than we did yesterday. Growing in a certain way, challenging ourselves, being a better human being than we have been. That's it. Just being a decent human being, compassionate, understanding, patient, all of those things. So, I implore you, just if you feel like you've done somebody wrong, just own it, talk to them about it, apologize for it. And what you can do is live a way that you do your best not to do that same thing again to anyone, not just that one person, to anyone, because it's about you and growing. That's what your recovery is about. It's not about any of the other stuff. You and your growth. Excited to join this group. We're excited to have you, Anne. I can be more compassionate. The finger you point 3 back. Absolutely, Melissa. Hi, Jess. Hi, David. Justin, oof. Hi, Nelly. Yeah, Justin, it's not easy. There's a certain amends. There's a certain wrong that I committed years ago. Probably about 15 years ago. And she did a lot of wrong to me, but I have to apologize for my part in it and just leave it there. I don't expect an apology back. I don't want any, I don't expect anything out of it. The only thing I want out of it is just to clear my stuff out, and that's a hard one. So I get the oof comment. Like, it sucks, it does sometimes, but you won't experience growth unless we can do these things, and then I do a living amends. The things that I did to that person back 10 years ago, I don't do today. I don't. And if I catch myself starting to act on those behaviors, I quickly take a step back, reevaluate my stuff, and move on. I can't see what's going on within me. I don't want to be that person anymore. So I do my best to not be that person. And again, that's not based on any specific program. Like, this is about being a recovering human being. This is about becoming a better person. And our intentions matter. So when you're going into new relationships, new jobs, new endeavors, any of that stuff, check yourself. What are my intentions here? What do I want? What do I want from them? And if they're not genuine and they're not pure and they're not any of that stuff, then you need to evaluate it, and it does. Melissa just said that takes practice. It does. It really does. And we fall short, and, we're not perfect, and nobody asked you to be, but do your best. Do your best to just not act on those negative intentions, because they're good. There's good intentions and there's bad intentions. There's a difference, there's a huge difference. A lot of times, like I've had experiences though too, where I've went in with intentions and I knew what they were. And then once I got into that job or got in that relationship, they completely changed because I found out what the job was like. Maybe I loved it. Maybe I was going into it and I just wanted something to do for 5 minutes, or, just a job to make ends meet, and I loved it. Actually, that happened with a restaurant that I work at currently. I went in just to make ends meet, and now I stay because I do need to work there, but at the same time, I absolutely love that job, and I love the people that work there. My intentions have changed completely over the last year concerning that environment. I recently went into a relationship, and my intentions were bored, past time. Not with that specific person, but in general, me reaching out at all. I had no intention of dating, and I've found someone that I love as a human being in a situation that I love as a human being, so it is, and it does take practice, Melissa, and sometimes we go in and we think we know our intentions, but we don't. Yes, Jessica, Phillips fam. I was there last night. I missed it so much. But sometimes we don't even know. We think we know our intentions, and then we get in the situation and it changes completely. And vice versa. I could go in with the best of intentions. I could go in with the best of them. And then all of a sudden I'm in it and I catch myself being malicious or, being petty or any of this stuff. And I have to take a step back and be like, Keirstan, what is going on? What is going on in your brain? What is wrong with you? You don't want to live this way anymore. And I have to remind myself, I have to pep talk myself. Shoot. I got to stand in the corner and be like, wait a minute, let's get it, girl. What you got going on? And really walk myself through that. Why am I doing it? Shoot. I don't know. We just went on a whole entire tangent, but I like it. I like that you guys are jumping in and just saying random things that keep me going here. All right, my counselors have to remind me that being sober is a great accomplishment and me being perfect is too much. Absolutely. Melissa, that was actually, I'm glad that you just said that, because that was the second topic that got brought up when I asked for feedback, was staying sober in this time. And personally, okay. My personal opinion on this really is if you stayed sober today, then you've done enough. Right now, a lot of us, I'm getting used to this life, this quarantine style, and so it's gotten easier. But in the beginning, I didn't know what to do with myself. I went from working 16-hour days, anywhere between 8 to 16-hour days, depending on what day of the week it was, being on the run with my mutual aid groups, being out with friends all the time, to sitting. The first few weeks were rough, really rough. And I really questioned a lot about my life. Who am I? What do I want? Where am I? Do I even want to do this? If the world ends tomorrow, what am I going to do? I went down that rabbit hole. And then I started to beat myself up. God, did I ever start to beat myself up? I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't being the best employee I could be. I wasn't being the best friend I could be. I wasn't as sober as I could be. Even though I stayed sober, I still was like, I couldn't stay sober enough. Whatever that looks like. What does that even mean? I'm talking to myself. I'm not yelling at you guys. What does that even mean, though? For real. Everybody's recovery is their own. It's yours. Nobody can tell you what that needs to look like. At the end of the day, it's hard. And what I've found over the past, couple, I don't know, probably about a month, because the first couple weeks were terrible. But over the past month, through trial and error, I've really learned, little things I can do throughout the day, whether it's a video on here, or doing some work on my computer, being with the kids, whatever it might be, to keep me going throughout the day and keep my brain going. I don't really, again, I feel like it works in all aspects. Early recovery, still thinking about using, whatever it looks like for you. For me, my negative thought goes to self-destruction, self-hatred, ways I can sabotage myself, not necessarily using, but let me not pay that bill today. Let me not show up for work today. and that's all my disease. That's all my addiction. So just because I don't think about picking up my drug of choice today doesn't mean that I don't suffer from addiction symptoms as well. I do. It just looks like, it's the mental aspect for me more so today. And, I just keep my hands busy, whatever that looks like. And, sometimes I have nothing to do. And I'll pick up the phone and I scroll through Facebook, or I, reach out to a couple people just to get something going. Something to keep me occupied. I just have to get through the next couple minutes and then get through a couple more minutes after that. It's not about, the big picture when it comes to recovery. It's really about each moment, every step that we take, and like that stuff matters. If you've stayed sober today, give yourself some credit. That's it. That's all you have to do is just not pick up. We can work on the heavy shit later. Sorry, I did not mean to swear there, but we can work on the heavy stuff later. You don't have to worry about that every minute or every day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Being perfect is way too much. Who's perfect? Nobody. Nikki, hello. I pep talk myself all the time, a couple times a day, but it's what I need to do to keep myself on the right path. Absolutely. If people could hear what happened in my head, my goodness, that would be an interesting day. Like, play my head on a loudspeaker. They would laugh all day long. So many times throughout the day, I'm like, come on, Keirstan, you got this. I don't know. It works, though. It works. Or like, I just talk to myself like I would be talking to like one of my friends. Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Do you really want to do that? Talk to yourself. It's okay. It doesn't make you crazy. Does it? Melissa, being attracted to the chaos and making unnecessary drama. Yeah, absolutely. I used to do that a lot. Now I'm starting to get to the point where I can catch myself. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm in the chaos and I'm like, wait a minute, why did I do this? But more often than not, I'm getting to the point where I can notice myself getting there, right? Like, I'm bored and I start a good one recently. Start just buying everything under the sun for no reason, right? And then I'm in it and I'm like, wait a minute, why did I do this to myself? I was bored and I didn't know what to do. So I acted out, caused some chaos in my life, and that doesn't look like it used to for five years ago for me. 5 years ago, I was like fighting and using and all kinds of stuff, so it doesn't look the same. I was hurting people. I was, all the stuff. But today it's like swipe right on Amazon. That causes chaos for me. I don't know about y'all, but that definitely causes chaos for me. Or just not doing the things that I know that work for me. Just not doing them. When I don't do them, here comes the chaos. And here comes Keirstan, like, and when I do that, that's my emotions right there. All over the place. Holy crow. I'm insane. I am insane. And I'm okay with it, but geez, I can see that stuff just happening, man. And like my emotions, and I was just talking about this like yesterday, I think, with my girlfriend. Like my emotions are all over the place. And it's because I'm just not talking about the fact that my finances are driving me nuts. Or I'm just not talking about the fact that my path is changing. And I just need to talk about it. I just need to tell someone about it, And once I do, my goodness, all of a sudden, I'm good. Here's my emotions. I'm okay. That's it. That's all I had to do was just be like, listen, this is what's going on. But I forget that. I forget how easy it is and how freeing it is. Yeah. I don't know. So, today, like, when we're talking about swipe left, get out. I agree with you, Jess. My goodness, I had to get rid of Amazon Prime because that was just terrible. I mean, I can still buy stuff, but not as easily. Lord help me. Anyway. When somebody brought up, like, staying sober in this time, and having all the things to do and then all of a sudden having nothing to do, I really, those, it's all the typical stuff that we keep saying, like, go on a walk, listen to music, reach out to people. But, like, I mean, I know for me personally, I get in these modes where, like, that just isn't doing it for me, So what I've found recently is, like, I'm just trying different things. Off the wall, crazy things, whatever it might be. I'm not saying go jump off a building or, go skydiving, none of that. But like, I'm just trying things that I normally wouldn't try, right? Like for me, the exact opposite of what I normally do is like doing nothing. I don't know what doing nothing means. Hi, Steph. I don't know what doing nothing means, right? So I've really practiced over the past couple weeks, like just not doing it. Just not doing all the things that I feel like I need to do all the time, right? Take a step back. Do what Keirstan wants to do for a minute. As long as, I'm not using or doing any of that stuff. Like, just be with myself for a little while. Be with my girlfriend for a little while. Be off my phone for a while. Instead of getting all the things done right now, why don't we get a little bit done now, a little bit done in the morning? It's not going to change anything. Nobody's freaking going anywhere, Like, so for me, I've just done the exact opposite of what I've been so used to doing. That run, go, go, go mindset. Like, I always got to be doing something, talking to somebody. Why? So for me, what's helped me over the past couple of weeks get out of all that stuff and kind of take a step back and chill is really just not doing 9,000 things at a time and overwhelming myself to the point where I'm crying at my computer. What? Like that's not, and it works. Like I said, like things work. It's an ebb and flow. So that served its time for me. Doing that served its purpose for me for a period of time. But my path is changing, and it's okay that yours is too. It's okay at any time that your path changes. Go with it. Go with the flow. At some point, like in recovery, we have to learn to trust ourselves and our instincts. Trust them. Go with it. It's okay. And it was hard for me to do that. I relied so much on everybody that I just needed to realize, like, I know myself today. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of work with other human beings. I can trust me today to an extent. I do need support. I do need help. I do need to bounce ideas off people. But it's okay to just do what feels right for a day. Just go with it. Take a step back. Self-care, man. Self-care. And I think that's the biggest thing for anybody, like staying sober in this time, is just taking care of yourself. Whatever that looks like for you. Mine might not be what yours is, and it's probably not. It's probably not. We're all different. Another thing that helps me is my mindset. So I'm running a little over time, but I came across a reading today when I was thinking about all this stuff, and it was about, like, I'm letting go of complaining. And it triggered a thought in my head. How many times a day do I complain about something? Even if it's minimal, like, F this. Or, man, I don't want to drive over there. Dang it, I don't want to go to work for 4 hours. Oh, man, I just don't want to. How many times a day do I say that? I just don't want to. A lot. And that really is a negative mindset, right? For me, a lot of my recovery work is changing my mindset. It's not even exterior stuff. It's not anything going on in my life. It's not any of that stuff. It's really my mindset and how I think about things. So I want to read this reading to you guys real quick and just talk about the intention today being, let's try not to complain today. Not once. Don't complain. And if you catch yourself complaining, change the mindset. So let me read this to you real quick. I'm giving up on complaining. True happiness comes not when we get rid of all of our problems, but when we change our relationship to them. When we see our problems as a potential source of awakening, opportunities to practice patience and to learn. I have 4 brothers, not sisters, only brothers. Every year without fail, when I go east to Cape Cod where we grew up, I spend time with all of them at once. When large families like ours get together, I find they often tell crazy stories that are funny to some members and not so funny to others. They rib one another, laugh at one another, stuff comes up, and yes, stuff comes out. Lots of stuff. On a recent trip, one of my brothers casually remarked, "Don't you think it's interesting that we sit around and complain about how our parents didn't do this and didn't do that, yet here we all are. All 5 of us together, talking and laughing with one another, working stuff out and through." Bingo. Whatever faults our parents had, and Lord knows everyone thinks their parents have faults, my kids included, somehow ours did something really right. They encouraged us to stay together and to stick together, and here we are. On that trip, the same brother asked us if we thought kids just always like to complain about their parents instead of trying to focus on what they did, right? I thought about it and it resonated as true to me. We all complain a lot. It seems so much easier to complain. I complain about such stupid stuff. My kids do too. I've been thinking about how really unattractive it is, at least to me, how utterly negative it is, and how I can choose to change it, like right now. I decided I want to see if it makes me feel different to stop complaining. I'm going to tell my kids that I'm instituting a complaint-free zone in the house. In my office too. In fact, I'm going to try it for a year. When I told that to a friend, she said, "Oh, Maria, get real. A year? How about a day at a time?" Okay, maybe that's more doable. One day at a time. No complaints about anything today. Not about friends, or jobs, or what we're eating or not eating for dinner, traffic, or what a sibling did or didn't do. Not even about politics. Remember, if you don't like your elected officials, you can always get right into the arena yourself. One day at a time. Out with the complaints, both large and small, because those complaints affect my space, my day, my relationship with others, and my life. No more complaints about my age, my body, my work, my friends, and none about how I grew up or about what my parents didn't do right. It's so boring. After all, my kids are healthy, and so am I. I'm so very blessed, and I want to stay in that place of being grateful for my blessings. That feels so much better than whining. Getting rid of the complaining allows me to move forward with gratitude, especially to my parents for the greatest gift they gave me, the gift of friendship with my siblings. I can only hope that way off in the distant future, when I'm long gone, that my own 4 kids are sitting together around a table, sharing their lives and sharing stories about their childhood. I know that what I did wrong will come up, and I can hear that already. But I hope they'll also pause and realize, wow, look at us here, all together, these many years later, sitting together, spending time together, laughing together. Our parents must have done something right. Yeah, I don't know. When I was thinking about, like, when somebody said something about staying sober now, I thought about all the things I've done up until now. You know, for the past 6 years, what have I been doing to help me build and grow and have an easier go of it? You know, it was really hard in the beginning, and I have moments where it's really hard, but overall, it has become so much easier. So really, like, what were one of those things that really was a key factor in my growth and my recovery? And it really is about my mindset. And again, I go back and forth. I have times that I do great, times that I don't. You know, but if I can take that mindset and switch it around and not be so negative about everything around me, I feel okay. I feel better. I can get up and get through the day and smile and do the next right thing, you know? So when I thought of that, I started to look through this book and I found the reading that was like, I'm letting go of complaining. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea. You know, I talk about the mindset a lot on this video and this thing, you know? So me for today, an intention for me today is like kind of trying to be, I can't say that I'm going to do it perfectly because I probably won't, but trying to be mindful of how many things I just go, ugh, I really have to do this again, over, you know, instead of like, and Yana talks about it all the time. It's not I have to do, I get to do. I get to go to work today. I get to wake up. I get to work out. I get to spend time with my girlfriend. I get to be around the kids. I get to blah, 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 fill in the blank. You know, there was a time in my life, I know for me, that I didn't get to do any of that stuff. Nobody wanted to be around me. I didn't want to be around anybody else. I didn't get to work. I didn't get to do any of that. You know, so for me, that's my intention for today. Let's see what we got here. Nelly, I have to run up to a quiet place and think that is something new because usually I just explode and freak out. Absolutely. Jessica, so easy to complain about the smallest things for sure. I find it a lot easier to just complain about it. It's just comforting. It's comfortable, not comforting. It's comfortable. It's easy for me. Stephanie, and with that ease, we conserve energy. Absolutely. It is a much more peaceful way of life. You're not putting so much energy into all the negative and all the nonsense. You know, you're just going with it. And being grateful for it. Mo, I think I've found an everyday in May goal idea. Replace complaints with gratitude or something. Absolutely. You know, I love goals. For me, I try to set the bar low, one day at a time, you know, and then once I do that and I can do it every single day, guess what? It becomes that month. It becomes that year. It becomes that mindset. You know, so I implore you today, stick with today. Watch your complaints. and see how it goes. All right, I'm going to head out of here. I am late. I'm sorry that we rambled on for a hot minute, but it was good today. I liked it. And thank all of you for coming here. The first comment on here is all of the resources, the phone numbers, different mutual aid groups, stuff like that. Feel free to check it out. Message me directly if you need to talk about anything. Message Rock Recovery, whatever you need to do. We're here for you. And also there's 2 posts. There's one on the Rock Recovery Facebook page, and there's one on the crew page. If you are a volunteer, you have access to that page. I think it's also on my Facebook page about me asking about suggestions. Please feel free to message me with them, comment on anything, let me know. This went well today, and all I had was 2 things to go off of. So feed me with whatever you want. It helps. It helps so much. So have a good day. Watch your complaints, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye, guys.